The ripple effect is about the unplanned positive consequences that our actions can have. And who better to illustrate this than the carers themselves? We asked carers if they would be willing to tell their stories, and are very grateful to all of those who volunteered or who were volunteered. We gathered a wonderful library of stories, and this video tells just a small part of this. But we hope that they will help you see the many ways that we can all help others. Can you spot the ripple effect in each? Etta, can you tell us, how does mindfulness help you?
It's just the most amazing thing. At first, the course was, I think it's for 2 hours or 2.5 hours, and I thought, oh my goodness, and it seemed to go past in 20 minutes. It makes you can walk in and be so tense, so anxious or whatever, and then after that, it's like, wow. And I think everyone's like-minded. We all say that to one another. Don't you feel so much better after it? And it's something that I tell everyone about. I would speak to them if you see somebody really anxious and not coping. Have you ever tried mindfulness? Because it makes an amazing difference. I just think it's a wonderful thing. Wonderful. I think it's like having mind over matter as well, and just giving into it and relaxing, and it's I'm a great advocate of it.
So Doreen and Douglas, how useful have you both found having an emergency plan?
Yes, I have. Getting an emergency plan in place. Again, it's another thing that I think is almost an essential document, because when I have had a break away and I've had carers come in, I'm able just to give them the plan. And that plan has everything in it, including my wife's. I've added things to it, like her medication and other things that, I think is a big benefit. And they've said, oh great, that's all the questions we're going to ask you. But they're written down for them, and you can just leave the emergency plan out.
I think it's an excellent idea, because even if the person you're caring for ends up in the hospital, you can take it into the hospital, and it lets the nurses, it saves you writing it all down in a hurry, and you can hand it over to the nursing staff and they know exactly what to follow, the routine to follow.
Louise, why do you tell people about your caring role?
I think what inspired me so much is being in school and then having the new role that I had now taken on, and then not really seeing, I feel like a lot of people still didn't really understand it. So I would say to people, I can't do this just now because I've got care responsibilities at home, and then they wouldn't really understand to the degree of why I couldn't do it. So and then also when I spoke to someone about it, they mentioned that there's a lot of people probably within the school that haven't even been made aware of their care role. So I think that pushed me further to be able to bring more awareness to it, so other people that are in situations can also get the help that they need to get through things like school.
And what did you do to make people more aware?
I went and spoke to someone in our school who also was in a care position, so they knew firsthand what it's like being in that role. And then we got we got people in to speak to younger people in the school, so first and second years I think it was, so then they could be made more aware to see if they're in a care situation. And then we also had a drop-in opened at break times, I think 1 day a week, so it could be a safe environment for people to come in, and if they had any questions or if they think they might be in a care role, they have somewhere that they can speak to about it.
Michael, why do you think it's important for carers to use their voice?
So I got the opportunity to come along and speak to one of the groups here at Carers Link, and one of the staff had asked me to come along and have a chat to the group's mixed group, mostly young people, some still in education, some leaving education and going into jobs, and I had a chat with them in various groups in Glasgow at carer centres. And they were positive groups, and the message I always give to the groups is, you don't always need to have that label. You're still a young person. You're still entitled to a life. And actually speak up. If you feel that someone isn't listening to you, go to your carer centre, say to them, I need support, someone's not listening, because that's what staff are for. When you have support staff, if you're in a carer centre, then speak to the staff. That's what they get paid for, that's their job. I always say that to young people. If you feel you're not listening, you've tried, go and speak to your support worker, get them to push it. You shouldn't have to, but sometimes, sadly, you do have to.
Karen, how has volunteering helped you?
Absolutely. I mean, when I started volunteering, I didn't even know if people sat down at desks and said good morning anymore. Maybe in this day and age, I thought maybe they didn't do that anymore. So there was so much to learn, to get back into the working routine and see what people did. So even from that perspective, it gave me confidence. By the time that I'd volunteered here for 2 years, so by that point I had enough confidence in myself to move forward and apply for a job. So yeah, if I hadn't done that, then I would never have applied for a role anywhere, really.
And do you feel that your caring experience and your volunteering experience helped you in getting the job that you wanted
Absolutely,
to get?
Absolutely. I think without having the experience of being in here, then I wouldn't have had the experience to apply for it in the first place. But it gave me the confidence to go in, and I think when you're younger, you can kind of wing it a wee bit. When you've got when you're a parent carer, you can't wing it. There's no space to wing it. You have to know what you're doing. And I think having volunteered in here, then it gave me enough confidence to apply.
Suzanne, why do you think peer support is important?
Not long after my son got diagnosed with autism, I took a lot of comfort out of Facebook pages. So it was parents that had children with autism, and they just kind of talked about their life, So my first Autism Awareness Month, so my first April after Toby being diagnosed, I decided to set up my own wee page. It was only supposed to run for the month of April, really, to raise awareness, autism awareness, but it turned out that it was really, people were like, people I didn't even know were sending me messages saying thanks so much for doing this and you're raising so much awareness, and the messages people were sending me and how much I had helped them through just being honest on my page. I just write about, if I've had a bad day, I'll tell them why it was a bad day, and it's not all negative, there's actually a lot of goods on the Facebook page as well, for me to be able to help the people the way that I was helped through the other pages was great, and I would never have been able to do that without being a carer, without having the time of, you don't really have a lot of time actually, but without the experiences that being a carer has given me, I would never have been able to help the other people who were just starting their journey, or even people that were quite far into their journey but hadn't had a lot of support or a lot of opportunities to go to the workshops and stuff. I was able to pass on knowledge I'd learned from them to other people. So it is rewarding in that way. It's rewarding to see the sort of barriers that they break through. You know, there's things that I would think that the boys won't be able to do, and then they just, no, well, here we are, we've done it. And it's even more rewarding then because you never thought that was going to happen, you know. So there is a lot of rewarding parts of it, of being a carer, definitely.
Rob, why did you encourage Carers Link to work with the Ocean Youth Trust?
Well, in my first encounter with Ocean Youth Trust, it was because my son had been skiing with the Disability Snow Sports organisation during the winter, and I was looking at something equally adventurous for him for the summer months. And he had at that time a couple of peer supporters who were young guys he'd been to school with. And we hadn't done any sailing together, but Ocean Youth Trust were organising trips for young people. And so I decided to just inquire of them whether they were running trips for kids like my boy and whether they'd be happy for him to have a supporter along as well. And so they were very supportive, very encouraging. And so Jordan went along with Lewis, who was his local peer supporter, a guy he'd been to school with and he'd known a long time, and who we were, because we had a direct payment at that time, we were able to employ him to support Jordan off on different kind of trips and adventures. It's a wonderful way of calming and getting away from all the stress and the kind of the noise and the bustle of the world, and just focusing on something simple like a journey and using the elements and nature to enjoy yourself on a holiday. So it was fairly simple. When we acquired responsibility for the younger carers, we were racking our brains, what can we think of to do? What kind of activities would they enjoy? And obviously, it's one thing I wanted to share was the fact that had been something that we found very therapeutic and very beneficial. So it was just a suggestion. And it got picked up, and amazingly, it worked.
Did you anticipate then that we'd move from just the young adult carers to this intergenerational sailing trip where we've got older and younger people working together on a boat?
No, I think it's going arms and legs, hasn't it? Which is great. But I'm glad it worked. I mean, it worked certainly for my son. It works for me. Why shouldn't it work for other people? Sailing is one of those kind of activities, I think, that has a universal appeal to most people. Maybe not everybody likes being on a boat, but I don't know many people who don't.
So did you spot the ripple effects? For Etta, sharing her enthusiasm for mindfulness has encouraged other carers to give it a try. An emergency plan is intended for use when a carer is unexpectedly unable to care for the person themselves, but Doreen and Douglas have both found them useful in other situations. Louise's passion to get people to understand what caring for someone can mean has resulted in a drop-in space for carers in her school. Michael's willingness to talk to other young people about the importance of being listened to has helped them to manage their caring role better. Karen used her volunteering experience at Carers Link to get a job in another carers centre and to help more carers. Suzanne shared her experiences and what she had learned from our workshops through Facebook, but she also raised funds for Carers Link, helping us to support more carers. Rob's enthusiasm for sailing has led to carers of all ages having the opportunity to enjoy a voyage on the high seas. You have heard from 8 people who have all started a ripple or have benefited from one. We hope that they have made you think about your own experiences and that you can see that while being a carer can sometimes be hard, there are also many positive aspects. We can all learn from each other, and if you would be willing to share your story, please get in touch with us.